Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Are you an inspiring entrepreneur? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur looking to take your business to the next level. My name is LarryWBrooks, and I am the author of Empowering Quotes for the Entrepreneur in You and The Entrepreneur Code. In these two books, I guarantee you there's success secrets that will take your business to the next level. I personally invite you to visit LarryWBrooks.com. Go under the books link and purchase your signed personal copy from myself. You have a great day and have an awesome 2020.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I urge you to do so at Prime Real Estate Rick. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in relatively efficient and effective properties that are residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, reach out to me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. For all those real estate students and those studying to be real estate professionals, visit our website at brooksanddavis.com. You can find out everything you need to know about Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm and schedule a consultation with one of our brokers. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this Thursday, just like it is every Thursday here in the noon hour at the Prime Real Estate Network. I want to thank everybody in our audience for tuning in. This is the part of the show when I introduce my co-host, who is not only a successful real estate broker, but he's known the world over as the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. But Mr. Brooks is away on assignment this week, so we have a very special guest co-host sitting in with me this week. You've seen her. She is Prime Real Estate Network alumni. You've seen her on Instagram. You've seen her on Facebook. I'm sure you've been to one of her events and seen her online. She is one of the foremost and most successful marketers, businesswomen, and entrepreneurs anywhere in the great city of Houston. I want to thank her for sitting in with us this week because I know how busy her schedule is on Thursdays. So I would like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience the founder and CEO of Creative Resource Business Management, Miss Andy Tebow. How are you?
Hello, guys. How are you doing? I'm great.
Get your lead the love. Get that. Go nuts. Go nuts. Thank you so much, Andy. It's been a while since you had a chance to sit in with us.
Yeah.
I thank you for sitting in with us at the new studio.
Of course.
You was down with us at the Kappa studio, so thank you so much. But for our audience who remembers your last visit, just share with them what's been going on in the world of Miss Andy Tebow.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. First and foremost, welcome to 2022. I'm back. Now I'm not being interviewed. I'm actually the co-host, sit-in co-host on today. So I want to say thank everyone that have tuned into the Prime Real Estate, have seen the old episodes, and now you're here again. Thank you for coming. But just about me, now you guys know I have the Focus Business Conference for the third year that's happening March the 10th through the 12th, as well as Hello Houston organization has now went from the last time we was here at 200 followers. Now we are over 1,600 followers, so a big shout out to that. And of course, I'm still doing project management and business funding with Creative.
But see, we're going to celebrate all your accomplishments. No, because Andy, you're so busy and visible, especially as far as your marketing, all of your education, your platform that you're building, and how you share with like-minded professionals and entrepreneurs. We will not allow you to gloss over the fact that your conference is coming up and it's your third, because it's so impressive when people are able to start an annual event. It takes hold, the public clamors for it, and they get involved and they support you in kind. So just mention a little bit about the previous 2 years of your conference. What kind of things did you learn, and what are you adding new to this third year that wasn't in the first two?
Oh, yeah, no problem. First and foremost, whoever thought about hosting conference and started this, you're crazy. But we love your crazy idea. The first year, I'm going to be honest with you, we did it at the AD Player by the Galleria. That was really amazing. First year, Houston, not knowing what I'm doing, but I learned the lesson of you should plan. You should execute, but you should be consistent in what you're doing before you even start. The second year, we had to pivot. First year was March 1st, 2020, right before the pandemic had hit or COVID had hit. COVID hit maybe March the 13th, right afterwards. So the second year, even though we was planning for an in-person event, we could not be in person, so we did it virtually. Believe it or not, virtual is crazy too. Technology is not your friend at all. As soon as you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, your battery go low, like it is on my phone now. But what I did learn about that is communication is key. Keep everybody in tune. Even if something goes wrong, have someone that can basically catch the alley hoop and keep it going. This third year, I'm going to be honest with you, we have 15 speakers that's actually coming. But this year we have 8 different states and 2 people that's coming from out of the country. What I'm learning this year is sponsorship and partnership is very important when you're trying to take things to another level. But Focus Business Conference is planned out to 2026.
And there it is.
Again, you got to plan. You got to work the plan, execute, continue to do it over and over, and have fun while you're doing it.
And there it is.
It's stressful. My stress is on 1,000 because we're 39 days away. But I love it.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much because Larry and I both know how much you put into these conferences on an annual basis. And even with it being 39 days away, it's still, you're actively adding, building, and putting a value added to the conference. So everybody in the audience, I urge you all to support Miss Tebow. Go to her IG, go to her website, schedule, get your tickets.
Yes.
And tickets are available?
Tickets are available today. Buy 2. Buy 2.
Thank you so much, man. Once again, thank you so much for sitting in.
No problem at all.
Now, for those in the audience who watch the Prime Real Estate Network podcast on a weekly basis, this is the part of the show where Mr. Brooks talks to our audience about the lengths that he's had to go to gain a commitment from this week's guest. Well, since Mr. Brooks isn't here, I'll carry that mantle for him. So I want to publicly thank this week's guest. She is not only an inspiration in the real estate profession, but she's also inspiration in the entrepreneurial sphere. She's not only a real estate broker, she's a real estate developer. She educates. She's also a real estate investor. But I think most importantly, and what's most gratifying for Mr. Brooks and myself, is that she is the founder of the Build the Block movement. I thank her so much for sitting in with us. I would like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience a proud Climb Forest Golden Eagle, Miss Matasha LaQuinn. How you doing?
Hey, thank you guys so much for letting me come and
get your applause, girl. You better soak that up.
Let me soak up my applause. Thank you for having me. Sometimes they say they can't trust me on the microphone. You never know what I'm gonna say.
And why would they say that, Miss Tasha?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
We'll see. Hey, look, I want to tell you, it's always proud to have another proud Northsider on the show, especially making the moves that you make. You know what I mean? So for our audience, please introduce yourself, your brokerage, and share with them a little bit about the Build the Block movement.
Absolutely. So a little bit about myself. I am a real estate broker and developer. I've been in the real estate business for 18 years now. And I started off in the traditional real estate space, you know, the selling of homes, properties, renting out properties and all that stuff. But in that process, we discovered that there was a need, and that need just happens to be a shortage of affordable housing.
Right.
And so what do you do when there's a need? You got to find out how you're going to fix it. What's the solution?
Right.
And so in discovering that need, I said, you know, my little light bulb went off, and I said, well, what if we started to create the inventory? Because, you know, there is the movement that's very popular where they talk about buying the block, but that has to do with property that already exists. And so to me, building the block was identifying the need, identifying what was missing, and coming up with a plan to build the block, you know, develop, create something that did not exist. That
Right.
was not there. And so we focused on not only collectively putting together investors to help them build wealth through real estate, but we make sure that the projects that we invest in give back to the community at the same time. And so here we are. We started, it was 8 of us, and then 16, and now we're at 60. And we're on our 3rd project so far, which we can talk about later, but I'm excited.
So you say you're up to 60.
Yeah.
So that your movement is grown.
It's growing.
Yeah.
And you know what? And it's proof, and it's an indication that once you jump off the cliff, you'll grow your wings on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how, what, when, I didn't know any of that. But I just had to trust the process and trust that God was going to bring me the resources and the people that I needed to get it done. And once you do something the first time, those results give you the momentum and the fire and the confidence to keep going. So we on a roll.
No, it's funny, Miss Andy, and I want to ask you because it seems like Miss Tasha's story resonates with you.
Yeah, buddy.
What is it about her story that strikes you as either something that you've experienced or something that you've seen?
I will definitely go back to shout out to Hello Houston organization. We literally started with 2 people, then it went to 3 people. Then it was like, is this really going to be a thing? Mm-hmm. And as we build, it keeps going and going and going. And we have some amazing people, but 60 on that type of team?
Listen.
Wow.
And it makes you have to get it together. Because a lot of people say that, you have a fear of failure, but there's a fear of success as well. What if I try this and it works and I'm not properly prepared?
That
Yes.
part.
And so I discovered with me, it wasn't necessarily a fear of failure. It was what if I do this and it works and I don't know what to do next? And I have these people looking in my face and, so it became that for me, but I wouldn't change it.
Absolutely. And it's funny because Ms. Andy, when you were first introducing yourself to the audience, you spoke about the importance of consistency.
Yes.
And Ms. Tasha, you're talking about the importance of consistency. So as you have been building your movement and building your platform, what have you seen has been the biggest challenges to you being consistent in your message? What kind of roadblocks have you run into?
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to just being consistent and roadblocks, a lot of it starts with your own mindset. So sometimes, myself, I'm my biggest enemy sometimes because you don't wake up feeling like doing it every day.
Yeah.
So the days when you wake up and you don't feel like it, you kind of look at the movement and the people that are trusting you and the people that are attached to you. And that helps as well from an accountability standpoint, right? It's like, okay, this is no longer just about me. There are other people attached to me, not just the investors, but the community that needs this housing.
Absolutely.
And so when you look at that from a consistent standpoint, it's about checking your own self every day, remembering why you chose to do it and having the right people around you from a support standpoint. To not just feed you what you want to hear, but to tell you the things that you don't want to hear.
Wow.
Get up. Hey, go get you a Starbucks, go get you something to eat, whatever it is you need to do, go do it. And I'm gonna need you to come and check back in 15 minutes and let's go.
Yeah.
We don't have time to waste. And so that's what's important, the team and your own mindset.
And this is a question I just have to ask, and this is a question that as we've been discussing your story, the background behind your company and the movement, initially when you were starting to build the block movement, you had your first members. You said you started off with 2 and then it got to 6 to 8. What type of commitment were you initially asking those who wanted to be involved with you to make? Because I want everyone in the audience who hears your story, it resonates with them, and they can draw either some similarities or comparisons to some things you've been through who want to get involved. Let's let them know of what does it take to be a part of the Build the Block movement.
It's funny you ask that because when I initially put the request out there and was just trying to get my people together, I didn't even know what I was asking for. I didn't know.
Understand?
All I knew is that I had a vision of something that I believed was possible. And when I tried to look at the bigger picture, and you always try to see the end results right now, but that can be a little overwhelming. It's good to have the end goal in mind. But for me, it was, okay, let me put one foot in front of the other. So first, let me talk to a few people about what it is I'm attempting to do. Let me check the temperature. kind of take an inventory of those that if this was something I was to put into play, would you be willing to be a part? So I didn't even ask for a dollar figure because I didn't know. I hadn't gotten that far.
Right.
And then it became, I want to do it. When you figure it out, let me know. Girl, let me know. And so I said, well, maybe I should put together an interest meeting to get them all on one call. And then we started to
build from there.
So I didn't even know what I was asking for. I just knew I needed to pull the trigger on something.
Now, it's really interesting because as a real estate broker as well, I'm sure education, marketing is a platform that you use to build your real estate brand.
Right.
How many of those transferable skills did you use when you were building the Build the Block and getting that team together?
All of them. Everything that I learned my entire 18 year of just real estate broker and
you keep saying that because we all know you got your license when you was 14.
You
were giving out the first 14-year-old real estate license. You know what it is.
Don't be messy today. Come on.
It's the entrepreneurship for me.
See, listen. But it was just everything that even along the way that I may have thought was a mistake along the way, it was something that was in my back pocket without me even knowing it that I needed to pull out for this journey, whether it's customer service. When you're dealing with home buyers and first-time home buyers, you're a counselor to them. You're talking them through the process. They're scared. They don't know what to do next. So that's all the same process. The only difference is you're dealing with an investor now.
Right.
But the technical skills still apply. The transparency, your character. I think your character speaks for itself. When they know a history of you and what you've done in other areas, that follows you over as well. So you don't have to do a whole lot of proving yourself because the consistency and the character is there from other issues, other situations.
So let me ask you, right? I understand that you're talking about what happened to the other individuals, how you helped the other individuals, how you built everything up. But with my background of understanding business operations, the management, that back end, they forget about the CEO. Tell us mentally, how has that process worked for you?
All right. So that's a good question.
Some secrets on stress management.
We got to talk about it. We got it.
I mean, that's a real question because at the end of the day, you have an idea, you have a vision, but there are systems and operations and things that need to happen in the background. And I think that was something that I was scared of as well because I didn't have that. I knew how to talk to people. I could talk to you all day long.
Yeah.
I'm a visionary. I can paint the idea, but as far as the systems and the back end management and organization of how we're going to pull this off, that was a weakness of mine.
Okay.
So what I had to do was, again, I put one foot in front of the other. When I went towards something, and at that time I was like, oh, I need something better than this, than a spreadsheet.
Hello.
What resource, what can I pull in to identify or help or resolve this issue?
Right.
Yeah.
And then whether I had to outsource and hire somebody to do it or whatever, I would get that taken care of. And so as I moved along in the process, when it was time to talk to the investors and talk to them about a Series LLC and how the contracts are written and how they're going to be added on as a limited partner, I didn't know none of that either. But when it was time to have that conversation, I would link up with the specialist and an attorney that specialized in that field, and they would come along on the meeting as my sidekick, and they would speak to that expertise.
Yes.
And so, again, I just learned as I went, and I would hear the different people that I had to hire along the way or consult with, and I put that information in my pocket, and now I know. So I just continue to grow and piece by piece.
No, two things I want to thank you for. I want to thank you for your transparency. And I want to thank you for your candor because there are so many entrepreneurs and business people that's in our audience that may have known you, that may have been introduced to you in passing, but haven't had the opportunity to pick your brain from this standpoint.
Yeah.
And some of these things that you're sharing as far as some of the trials, tribulations, some of the frustrations, we all go through that in building our businesses. But I think the one jewel that you dropped that I'm definitely picking up, and I hope everybody picks up this jewel, is the need to organize your back end, the need to put your systems in place, and the importance of having a plan, working your plan and being consistent with it. Is that something that you've noticed as you built your company as well, Ms. Sandy?
It is. So, you know how they tell you do a SWOT analysis?
Yes, strengths,
Right.
weaknesses,
Yeah.
opportunities, and threats. Right.
Here's the difference, though. You got to have the systems, you got to write it down, you got to operate it, and then you got to teach it. It's a difference. And as the back office, I mean, both of you guys know it might not go how we already planned.
Right.
That system may work and it may not work. We might have to write it down. Right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
then you got to operate it like ain't nothing happened and teach somebody else to do it, right? So you got to use the SWOT analysis to do something different.
And I agree totally, man. And the best thing about this is that as long as Miss LaQuinn has been in real estate, 18 years, she's done hundreds of transactions. For those members of the audience that have had the pleasure of being a client of yours through a listing or helping them buy, I want to give them an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay.
And be able to see you in a different light than just the professional businesswoman that they may have been presented during their real estate transaction. So when we come back from our break, we're going to talk a little bit about Miss Tasha LaQuinn, businesswoman, entrepreneur, and motivator, educator, and inspiration, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. We're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors, but we will be right back.
I'm serial entrepreneur Larry W. Brooks, and I'd like to personally invite you to take a closer look at the Pure Hustle clothing brand, along with several books that I've authored to take entrepreneurs, small business owners to the next level of their business. So please take a look at shoplwb.com. How do you survive?
Mission to create the blueprint for how we could go into our own neighborhoods, buy blocks, renovate them, and combat the negative effects of gentrification. Today, that vision is reality. Our project is located in the heart of the historic Lyons Avenue Business District in 5th Ward of Houston. Lyons Avenue was once a thriving black business district with businesses and commerce. However, after desegregation, that all changed. Now, we are recreating that legacy. These buildings are 100 years old. We just gave them a new life. This house was built in 1925 and was vacant for years. It's now a podcast studio and is rented out as an event space for everything from engagement parties to TV commercials, music videos. City Council even had meetings here. We've had birthday parties. We've had baby showers. And the $5,000 to $10,000 a month generated in this building.
At Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, we pride ourselves every month in having tons of events. So take a look at this calendar. If you see something you want to be a part of, you see an opportunity to come out and network with realtors, partners, and affiliates of Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, we cordially invite you, and I'll see you at these events.
Welcome back to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Rick Davis. I'm here with my co-host, Miss Andy Tebow, and we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We had a great first segment to this week's podcast, and I want to thank everybody in the audience for tuning in. I'd like to introduce this week's guest. She is a real estate broker, developer, investor, entrepreneur, educator, motivator, and inspiration. She is the founder and CEO of the Build the Block movement. I want to introduce this week's guest, Miss Tasha LaQuinn. How you doing?
Hey, good to be back. Ready to chop this second session up and see what we can bring the people.
I want to thank you so much because you did so much in our first segment as far as enlightening our audience, as far as the organization and dedication that it takes to be a business leader. This is something, and I'm sure Miss Andy can attest to this as well, is that sometimes as business people and entrepreneurs, we put so much into our knowledge base, our presentation, that sometimes the people that we work with, they may undervalue the evolution that we had to go through to get to that point.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to give you an opportunity to share with our audience a little bit about your entrepreneurial background, your background as a businesswoman, and what is it that Miss LaQuinn did before you started your real estate brokerage and got into this entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, all in my business.
I was going to say it, but since we're here.
Let's do it. So I think I'll walk you through the story. But prior to my real estate career, I went to Prairie View.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Who are you rooting for?
So I went to Prairie View, right? And I went because that was just the right thing to do. That's kind of what my grandmother, I believe, expected for me. It just sounded legit, right? And so I went. I changed my major 4 or 5 times. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I ended up pregnant.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, real life. What am I going to do now? And so I came back to Houston, and I got a job as a bill collector. And and mind you, my grandmother.
Tell them over the phone.
Over the phone.
Oh, I bet you developed a thick skin doing that.
Yes, it did.
Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you, I learned how to rig the system so that I only got the incoming calls, which was the people that called in to pay their bill.
That's very creative.
I figured it out. But the crazy thing about it, so my grandmother, right now, she's a real estate broker, has been in the business for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
She raised me. So it was kind of an automatic or an expectation that I would follow behind her and go into real estate.
Right.
But I just did everything opposite of that. I didn't want to be in real estate. So when I got this job as the bill collector, my cubicle and my office was right across the freeway from her real estate office.
Oh, wow.
So I could
That's
look out.
God.
I could look out of the window
Yeah,
and see
that's
her
the
office.
blessing right there.
And so by this time, I gave birth to my daughter, got back from maternity leave, and my light bulb went off, and I knew that I had to figure out
Make it happen.
something. So I called Granny and said, "Can you tell me more about this real estate stuff?" Made the little U-turn on my lunch break, went to her office, talked to her about it. She agreed to pay for my classes. I was 19 at the time. Started at Champion School of Real Estate. She paid for me the entire way. That was in 2003, and here I am.
No, you know what's so gratifying about that story, and I thank you so much for sharing, is because normally, and Miss Tebow knows this because she's been a guest on the podcast before, normally our final question of the week is there a member of your family that made us served as an example or a guiding light down this path of entrepreneurship? So you shared that your grandmother was able to provide you with a beacon.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that, it allows me to tweak the question a little bit. Growing up in a household with your grandmother, and she doing this the entire time, what was it about your time at Prairie View or the challenges that you were going through having your daughter that made your light bulb go off to be like, oh, what my grandmother been doing all this time is a viable option? Because you would think that, you know,
Right.
you've been a part of that
Yeah.
the entire time.
So good question. I guess me actually taking the opportunity to go to college and to look at the majors and the different opportunities that were there, none of them were, I was doing it, but none of them just pulled at me. I knew it
Makes
wasn't
sense.
right. And that way is not for everyone, but I was trying to make it my way just because it sounded like the
It was an
thing to
experience
do.
worth having. Absolutely.
It definitely was. But if you fast forward, I think the light bulb part was when I had, you know, a human in my arms with bills, and I wanted more for myself and for her. And I knew that working this job as a bill collector wasn't going to get it, and I needed a career, and I just didn't have the time to be able to go to a 4-year college and get a degree. And so it was, real estate. I think that's something I can get fairly quickly. And I think, let me ask her about what these commissions look like. And so once I asked that question, and
You start
so
seeing the
that-
bread,
yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to thank you because, okay, this is something, and this is one of those episodes where if Larry was sitting here, we would give people a little background to some of the conversations that we have behind the scenes. There's a lot of times that I explain to young people from a mentorship perspective that in real estate, it's not tied to going to a 4-year university.
Right.
Matter of fact, it's something that you can get involved with at the age of 18 upon high school graduation, and it can set you up to have a lasting, fulfilling career that can help you not only raise a family but flourish
Right.
and build generational wealth. So I thank you so much for sharing your story, because I know for a fact there's a lot of PV students in the audience. You know what I mean? And I want your story to resonate with them, to let them know that in every challenge there can be triumph.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look around your family, your greatest inspiration may be right there in front of you, and you may not have necessarily considered that. So thank you so much. Now, Miss Andy, we are getting towards the end of this week's show, but I always want to make sure our audience is educated and aware of all the things that's coming up in the near future. So please share with our audience everything about your upcoming business conference, how they could go about getting tickets, and how they can follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, no problem. So I want to pose the question to you guys that's here as well as in the audience right now. Are you really ready to grow your business by 300%?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Come on. You asking me? Absolutely. Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's actually the idea of the Focus Business Conference this year. Are you really ready to grow your business by 300%? We're very intent on what we're doing versus we have an idea. We want to do this. We next week we doing this. Like nobody's playing anymore.
Right.
No more. I'm going to. Are you ready to grow your business by 300%?
Absolutely.
And so at the Focus Business Conference, which is happening March 10th through the 12th this year, our theme is about sales and marketing. Most conferences you go to, they tell you to niche down. Mm-hmm. Go to a hair conference, go to a real estate conference, go to this. But at the Focus Business Conference, what's the first word of it?
Focus.
You got to focus.
Absolutely.
So at the Focus Business Conference, again, we're going to talk about sales and marketing, how to grow your business by 300%. The 3 keynote speakers is Dr. Travis Davis, who's coming all the way from DMV. Mm-hmm. He's actually going to teach about government contracting. He has an 8A certification, so we know he's going to give something.
He's giving real game.
Right, and we're no fluff. Then we also have the VP of Regis Bank that's actually coming as well, teaching you about banking, not the fluff of get a business account, fill out this paperwork, but his story of how he got to his position and how you literally can go to the bank and get whatever you want if you do it the correct way with documentation. Then, of course, you have me.
Of course.
But myself, I'm coming in as a keynote speaker because I am focused, and it's more of teaching you the back end of business, why you need to have 3 names before you go get your first business entity, and what those 3 names look like when you go get your trust that's ran with a C Corp, run a C Corp through another business, so you don't pay any taxes. We'll talk about that later because you got to come to the conference because Donald Trump does it, okay? But you guys can understand that we have 3 keynote speakers. We have 3 workshops as well as 3 masterminds that's going to be on March the 11th. That's happening. But the whole goal is to grow your business by 300%. If you just need that next step and you just like, you know what, I'm tired of people giving me all the extra, come to the conference. Come to the conference, but you can go to the focusbusinessconference.com website and get your tickets today.
I mean, I want to thank you so much because what you're doing for entrepreneurs here locally, yes, and for those who check you out virtually,
yes,
it's something that's invaluable. So please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned earlier that it can be stressful,
yeah,
being such a leader, but just keep in mind that what you're doing is serving so many people.
Yes.
And that they'll be able to flourish into the future off the sweat that you're putting into it now. So thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Yes, and I will say I am Black History.
As
Come
it
on,
is. Ms. Tasha.
Yes.
I want to thank you as well. Everything that you're doing with Build the Block from an educational standpoint and most importantly an investment standpoint is helping to close that wealth gap.
Come on.
So no doubt, please let everybody know how they can follow you online, websites, contact info, and the whole 9.
For sure. You can go to Society 23, and that is the number 23. So society23.com. My Instagram, Queen B. I am the Queen Bee of real estate.
Hello.
So you can find me at QWEEN_B. Skits, funny time. You know, we mix entertainment and education just to keep it light. You won't regret it.
I know. I appreciate you because you just now allowed me to follow you, so I will start to partake in all that great content as well. But once again, in all seriousness, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I know how busy your Thursday is as a broker, entrepreneur, and an investor, so thank you.
My pleasure.
Nice.
I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast this week. In the meantime, in between time, if you need anything, I'm a text, call, inbox message, or direct message away. On behalf of myself, Rick Davis, you can follow me at Prime Real Estate Rick. And the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, who's away on assignment. Until next Thursday in the 12 o'clock hour, everyone in the audience, be safe and be blessed.